All right, cool. So I am Michelle with the Mompreneur Club, and I'm here today with Naomi. Super excited to have her here. She's a member of the club, and we're going to chat a little bit about herself, who she is, why she's in the group, and what she's doing, and how she can bring more value to all of you amazing, lovely ladies who are listening. So Naomi, welcome. Super excited to have you here. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, you as a mom, as a person, the types of things you like to do.
Okay, so thank you. Great to be here and love the group, by the way. Really amazing group. My name's Naomi Quinn. I'm an emotional mastery expert for neurodiverse mums and their double-digit daughters. So what that means is it's mums or daughters or both of them neurodiverse. And basically what I do is I support them to master their emotions, and there is like a whole heap of stuff that goes into that. So it's not just about how they feel, it's how you process and how you deal with it all. And being neurodiverse, that can be really tricky. So I'm a mum of four. My oldest is 27 and my youngest is 13. I have 6 grandchildren. So it's a bit of a crazy family.
Love it.
I was a really young mum. So I had my older 3, and then there was a big gap, and then I had my youngest. All of us are neurodiverse in one way or another. So I rock like multiple neurodiversities. I'm autistic, I've got ADHD, and I've got dyslexia. My oldest daughter's got ADHD, and we suspect autism. My next daughter is she's got ADHD, dyslexia, and autism. My son's autistic, and then my youngest daughter has got a complete mixed bag. So she's autism, ADHD. She's got sensory processing challenges. We think she's got dyslexia, global developmental delays, and a couple of other things in the mix for her. So quite complex families, but that's just who we are. That's us as a family.
I love that. I love it because I'm just now starting to enter that world. My 2-year-old, we have strong suspicions she's got autism. And so we are just entering that world and learning what a crap show it is in terms of all the special, there's a specialist for everything and none of them communicate with each other. And you're just trying to figure out, how do I get the diagnoses I need? How do I get them the support that they need? Right. And the other aspect, which is really troublesome, especially having such a young child, is there's really no way to project what the future is going to look like because everybody's so uniquely different. And so if I'm sitting there are we talking, autism where they can still live a meaningful, independent life, or are we talking autism where they are going to need around the clock care constantly because we know it's such a spectrum, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about kind of navigating that and what that was like, for you as a parent with multiple different children.
So for me, with my older children, I didn't really understand my history is I trained to be a social worker when my older 3 were a little bit older. So I went to college and university, and through that is where I learned the difference with psychology, and I became a real psychology geek. So everything was then analysing behaviours and what that meant and looking into it. And the penny started to drop a little bit with my middle daughter at the oldest ones. I saw a lot of things in her that I struggled with. And I was diagnosed with dyslexia when I was 16, the rest of it not until an adult. And as kind of time went on, I started to notice things more with them and started to dive into neurodiversity a bit. But it wasn't until I had my youngest daughter, and when she got to, I think she must have been about a year old, and I could see real severe traits of autism. And when I say severe traits, I mean the OCD, the outbursts, the shutdowns, and this was from 1 year old. And all professionals were telling me that, oh, you're just over analysing her because you've studied this and you're a social worker, so you're now looking for things in your child that you would see in other children, which really ground my gears, because I was like, I don't want my daughter to be autistic because I know the
Right.
challenge that can
Yeah.
bring. Like, I'm not wanting that for her, but I'm recognizing that these are traits that she's got. So I had to fight the system for her, and it took a lot for us to get her into getting a diagnosis of any sort. And we've literally gone through years of fighting. Here in the UK, it's
Wow.
really, the wait lists are so long. I
Mm.
think it's like a 5-year wait list to have a child
Wow.
diagnosed with the statutory services, but you can pay privately to have them done. So navigating that with my older children, I didn't really recognise some of their behaviours as being neurodiversity or
Mm.
things that they were struggling with. It was just
Mm.
kids being kids for me because I didn't know any better. But
Yeah.
when I started to recognise it and learn it more with Lily, that's when I was like, okay, this is making complete sense. So that's when I went on my complete geek out with neurodiversity and really dug into understanding what that meant. And as an adult with late diagnosis with with autism and ADHD, it's really quite profound when you have that knowledge of, okay, so I'm not the black sheep. I'm not the one that there's something wrong with me, because there's nothing wrong with me. My brain and my nervous system just work differently to
Mm.
other people. And understanding that and learning to be able to decipher that has been a huge breakthrough for me, because for years I'd been so conditioned for what society wanted me to be that I became like the typical yes person. So when I was a
Mm.
social worker, I would work until 2 o'clock in the morning, even though I had children of my own. I'd be working and doing all the extra work because that was asked of me. I would never say no to doing it because I was taught that it was rude to say no, kind of thing.
Mm.
So I've had like 3 years of real undoing that conditioning for me.
Mm.
For Lily, she's 13, and I started to see this with her more and more. She got bullied at school because she can't articulate things properly. She doesn't come across like age appropriate. She's quite young for her age, and she
Mm.
can get pulled into things really easily. And for me, that was really worrying because I could see that she was getting pulled by people to do things that she didn't want to do, and that was affecting her as a person.
Mm.
And when she got bullied quite severely, and that kind of transferred into having panic attacks,
Mm.
which was really difficult to go through. We tried to get the children's mental health services involved because she was really quite severe. Panic attacks as soon as we left the house and things. It was horrific. And they actually said to me that they wasn't going to open her as somebody to support because I could provide the work more so than what they could. And that's for
Wow.
me when the penny dropped, that I've lived this with 3 adult kids, not knowing what was going on and trying to navigate making sure that they're healthy and happy and do the best that I can with them. Being somebody that's neurodiverse, multi-neurodiverse as well, the experiences that I've gone through, and then I was watching her go through it, and I was like, I've got all the knowledge and experience, not just from my degree with social work, which included so many aspects of the human
Mm-hmm.
makeup, but
Yeah.
also in my lived experiences, and then
Mm.
my experience as a social worker and working with all the families and seeing that parents often struggle with diagnosis because they don't know what that's going to bring. They don't understand that there is a spectrum, and actually no two children are the same. What you see in one child is not always going to be what's for the
Mm.
next child. So,
Yeah.
but also what I did see was a lot of blame as well. Children that are not able to manage their emotions have meltdowns and shutdowns and big outbursts. And a lot of the time, parents would be blamed for that, and it would be poor parenting. But actually, it's not, if they don't know what to do. And like an analogy that I say to people all the time is like, we feed off of energy. I'm quite woo woo. I love all my woo woo stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
it's reality. We feed off of energy. So if my energy is not great. So if I've had a bad morning and then I go into a class, if I'm a teacher, I've had a bad morning and I go into a classroom with 30 children and already my energy levels are off. So the children are going to pick up on that. But let's say that two children in the class, their energy is already really negative because they've had a really bad morning as well. That then feeds to the children. Then you've got the unknowing bubbling underneath of this negative energy that's kind of building in the room, which can pile. And then with the adult being the person there, one that should be the one to support, to regulate and calm down them bubbling emotions. If you're already dysregulated, you're not going to be able to do that. So that's kind of where I came in with actually we taking a step back and actually looking at ourselves as mums and seeing actually where our regulation stands. Because one of the things I've seen a lot is that when you've got a parent who is neurodiverse and they're overstimulated, they're completely like on their last nerve because everything has just gotten too much. And we're talking sensory stuff, we're talking being touched out by little kids or any age kids. And when you get to that point, if you're not taking that time for yourself, you're not able to then ground yourself and regulate and check in with yourself to be able to then go back in and handle any other situation that comes up with calm and clarity.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's like
As you can see, I could talk about this for ages. So
no, I love it. I love I love it. That's exactly what we want. You know, it's like, and the passion shines through, which is really important, especially in this field, right? Because like you want someone that's just as passionate about your kids' successes as you are, right? And I feel like that's hugely lacking in this field. So I love that you support families in that. So tell me a little bit about kind of, you know, now you have older children and you've got the one that's kind of at home with you. Is that about right?
Yeah.
So what does the day-to-day look like? Like what kind of things do you guys enjoy doing together as a family? What does that kind of look like?
So Lily's homeschooled. So she's with me 24/7. So we like to kind of just watch some series. We started watching Wednesday season 2 today. And she's really into creativity and art. So we do things like diamond art together, and drawing and just kind of any artsy stuff. We like to do our crazy dancing and being silly. So we have our little dance parties and stuff. We like to go out on walks, so we like to kind of take in nature around us. And we do love, me and Lily love our holidays. We like to experience new countries, new places. The older kids, they're all very different. So my oldest daughter has 4 children. So a lot of the time with her, it's conversations about supporting her with her children. And the things that we kind of do together is just spending time together. So just like having barbecues or meals and stuff together and just having some time kind of as like mum and daughter. We don't really get a chance to just be mum and daughter anymore because there's always like little kids in the mix. The grandkids, they love coming here. They love the fact that it can be a crazy house and they can just kind of be free a little bit. But not too much. There's still boundaries and there's still rules. But they get to stay up later with Nana and they get to have more sweets with Nana and that kind of thing. And like I said, they love coming and sleeping over. And it's quite often that if I have one of them, one of the other ones is going to want to come as well. My other daughter, again, I think it's more about her children. So as much as we do things together, we try and do days out with the kids. And we go and explore new places and stuff, which is really great. And then my son, he's the one that's not as close anymore. Like he hasn't got children and he's building his own life. He's got a partner and he's moved away from the area. So we talk often, we keep in touch and we see each other a few times a year, but it's a little bit more difficult because he is like 3 hours away from us now.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it sounds like, I mean, your family's still pretty close knit though. Like, you have a lot of interaction with your grandkids, with your older kids, and then with your other that's there too. And I love the creative expression. So I'm a huge creative person too. So I love that. Super cute and
Yeah.
fun. So what made you want to build out your business, and tell us a little bit more about the business you're building now?
So for me, like I said, being a social worker, I worked all the hours under the sun and then some. I ended up getting burnt out because I was working so much that I just wasn't taking care of myself. I've also I've got something called endometriosis, which is a women's only condition that is absolutely debilitating, and that hit me hard in 2020 and kind of knocked me for six. I ended up having to have two surgeries within a year of each other, and huge surgeries because it was so bad. I couldn't eat, I couldn't function, I was really quite unwell. And it was when I had my second surgery that I'd kind of stepped back and was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do the 9 to 5, but it's not actually a 9 to 5, it's a 48-hour and 24-hour kind of day.
Mhm.
So I was looking at other things that I could actually transfer my skills to, but also continue my passion of supporting parents and children, because that's always been something I wanted to do. And then I come across coaching from a personal perspective. I employed a coach myself for mindset and work and self-care. And then I was like, actually, I think I could do this. I think I've got the skills to do this. So I did start off with just supporting mums, and with self-care, so self-love and looking after themselves. And
Mhm.
the more that I kind of stepped back with Lily, and I was looking at what I was doing with her and the progress that I'd made with Lily, because we pulled her out of school 3 years ago, and
Mhm.
it kind of stuck with me that a parent and child that knew her, when they saw her 6 months after I pulled her out of school, and the intense work that I'd done with her, they were shocked. They was like, she is a different child. This is just
Wow.
what's happened, like positively what's happened, but
Mhm.
she's gone from being really meek and withdrawn and just doesn't say boo to a goose to this big character that is just beaming and bubbling. And I was like, that's where real intense work works.
Mm.
Do you know, like having that real time with her. And for me, that was when I kind of said, you know what, I know there's a lot of parent coaches out there, and I know that there's a lot of teen coaches, but I don't know anybody that actually combines the two. I
Mhm.
don't know anybody that works from the perspective of working with parent and child. And for me,
Mm.
that's the important thing, because if you work with the parent alone, yes, you're helping them to make progression, and you're helping them to come back to themselves and learn about themselves. And same with the child, you can do that. But if you're not then bringing them together to build that relationship and learn to talk to each other in a way that is right for each other,
Mhm.
and actually understand what that is, and understand what the other's going through and all that kind of stuff, then you're going to kind of just put a plaster over it and not really make long-term progress that's going to stay and be sustainable. So that's when I decided that actually this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of cover both mum and daughter. And I can work with boys and I can work with dads, but I'm a mum and I have a daughter living at home. So I'm still going through it. Like I'm living it now.
Yeah.
So for me, it's really good for people to see, and I can talk to that. Lily's really involved in the business side of things. She loves that she's a part of it, and loves that her story can help other people as well.
Mhm.
She absolutely is in awe of that and is really excited to be a part of it.
I
But yeah,
love that.
so basically, I coach mums and daughters to understand themselves, to take off the masks that society has kind of placed on us. Because being neurodiverse, the world is very different to when you're neurotypical. And I think I don't want to be horrible to neurotypical people, because that's not my intention at all. But
Mhm.
neurotypical people don't know what it's like to be neurodiverse, and vice versa. But it's the world is designed for a neurotypical brain. It's not designed for a neurodiverse brain. So when we look at things like education, like, just no kid is supposed to sit still for that amount of time anyway. But a neurodiverse person, as you can see, I move constantly. I don't stay still, which is not always the best thing on camera because people are like, where is she going? But it's having that understanding that actually, like, the world is different for us, and we end up putting masks on where we're trying to fit into society's expectations of us. And over time, then masks then become a lack of confidence and lack of understanding with who you are, and you lose yourself. And I've been there, I've done that, I've lost myself because I've spent so much time over the period of my life of pleasing everybody else. So what I do is I support mums to then unpick all of that and start to kind of show up as themselves. And what I'm doing is teaching daughters to not have their masks placed on them, so they can go through life with that freedom to be themselves and that courage and the confidence to be who they are, and not feel that they can't be themselves because other people are going to look at them in a different light.
That's so beautiful. I love it. You've been dropping so much value on this call anyway, but I would love to ask, if you were to talk to a mom who's maybe in that spot, right? They've got a neurodiverse child, maybe they're neurodiverse, and they've got a child who's in the school system. They don't really know how to support them. They're struggling. What would be your advice to them?
Depending on the child's age, I think one of the things that we often do, and I'm talking as parents, as adults, as professional, what we often do is overlook what the child needs to say. So I would always say, have a real honest conversation with them about what it is that they want you to do, because sometimes they want to navigate it on their own and they don't want you to step in, and other times they do, but they don't know how to ask. And be creative with it. It doesn't have to be a sit down serious conversation. It can be doing things like drawings and asking questions, or you could go out on walks and have a non-eye contact conversation, because that works a lot better for neurodiverse youngsters and adults. And actually take on board what it is that the child is telling you that they would like to happen for them, because we'd like to make decisions for them, but because we feel like we're parents, we know best, but not always. We don't always know best, and we could make things a little bit worse for them and more uncomfortable. And I know the education system across the world, there is a big gap for supporting kids with neurodiversity. So there would be frank conversations with school around what support your child needs and whether there is the right plans in place to support them. So I'm not quite sure in America, but here in the UK we have something called an educational healthcare plan, which is shortened to an EHC plan, which basically looks at the child's social, emotional and health needs and educational needs. And then that plan's put in place, and the education system is then supposed to provide that support. And that could be that there's a one-to-one teacher, or it could be that they come out of mainstream school and go to a provision for a day a week, or whatever. There's a whole heap of different things. So it's knowing actually what's there legally and policy-wise for your child, and unfortunately fighting it, because everything with services is a fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you're helping support people in this space, because it is a fight. You're like absolutely right. So
Yeah.
Awesome. We will make sure that when we post this video, we'll have links to anything that you've provided for us, for other people to see. So we'll make sure that, you can check the links below, or in the description or comments, wherever we have the links. So make sure you check that out. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say before we say goodbye?
No, I think I've talked enough.
Yeah. No, you've done wonderful. Oh, there is one more question. This is my second one of these member interviews I've ever done. So we're rolling with it and figuring out how we want to phrase these. But I did want to ask, because you are a member of the Mompreneur Club. So I think it'd be helpful on these calls to also talk a little bit about that and what that's been like for you in your entrepreneurship journey. So I'd love to also hear from you, like, what are parts of the group that you're really enjoying, and what are things that you wish we would do differently or wish we would add to the group?
So really enjoying, I love how supportive everybody is. Everyone's just like loving on each other and supporting each other, which is great. You have really good conversations going in there, and I always love to have a read through and see other people's perspectives on questions that you've asked. And I do like to go on a tangent, as you've seen on some of them.
No, I love it. The more the merrier, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything I would say that is missing, really. I think that you've got such a nurturing space that is supportive for people to come and talk about anything that's going on for them, both as a mum and as an entrepreneur, which is really good to have, because it's, although we might be a mumpreneur, that we're not one or the
Yeah.
other. It's all combined, isn't it? So it's good
Yeah.
to see other people's journeys and what other people are going through, but also to see the people that are a few steps behind you and be their cheerleader as well, and try and help them in the way that other people have helped you.
Yeah. Love that. Well, thank you so much for being here. We will make sure we put this into the group so other people can get to know you as well. And we'll be putting this on YouTube, and people can check out those links like we talked about. So awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.